This material has been reproduced and communicated to you by or on behalf of Deakin University in accordance with Section 113P of the Copyright Act 1968. The material in this communication may be subject to copyright under the Act. Any further reproduction or communication of this material by you may be the subject of copyright protection under the Act. Do not remove this notice.
At 10. Okay, so class has now been recorded. 10 o'clock, it's clicked over. Now, I must say that Tessa is unfortunately sick for today. We're going to try and get her back in a few weeks. However, she has sent back some of the answers to the questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the question first. And this is why, Kate, I mentioned that you can ask your question. If we can address it ourselves, that's fine. If it's something specific that you wanted to ask the speaker, like Tessa, then obviously we've got to take it on notice, otherwise we can't answer it. However, there are some questions that have been given, and what I'll go through are the questions and then the answers that were being provided. So, first question that we had, there's been mention in the previous presentation of Tiffany's Australia wanting to capture tourists with high discretionary income, and its store locations also suggest wanting to be the prestigious, well-known, high foot traffic areas for this purpose. However, do you feel your current digital platforms successfully capture the same audience, or are you aiming for a different audience online compared to offline? So that was a question. The answer: I wouldn't necessarily say that Tiffany Online was trying to capture the same audience, as our online platform is designed to capture an even bigger audience for those clients who may never have considered Tiffany's before, live in remote areas, can't make it into store, are intimidated to visit a boutique, and the savvy shopper. Our online website, which has just relaunched, is designed to create a seamless yet informative shopping experience, giving as much detail to the client as possible without having to visit a showroom and ultimately trying to create brand desirability. Now, these things are being recorded anyway, so if you wanted to go through and listen to the answer again, obviously you know it's the first part of the session. Second question was, in the real world, Tiffany is quite committed to rewarding its loyal customers who spend high or purchase frequently. In the digital world, is Tiffany currently more interested in improving awareness of its online platforms, like recently relaunched website and social media channels, among potential first-time aspirational buyers versus returning loyal customers? Long-winded question. You're absolutely correct in saying that Tiffany's boutiques are committed to developing repeat purchases, ensuring that they have an incredible experience every visit. In saying this, a percentage of our repeat clients are unable to make it into the store or want items that stores may not be assorted for. Thus, we encourage our clients to purchase online, as all their purchases fall under the one data program that we can track, and we are satisfied that they are receiving an elevated service. In saying this, purchasing online doesn't deliver the same personal and emotional connection than one we get from visiting a boutique. Therefore, our online platform is more effective at creating first-time buyers and desirability. Next question. What do you want the Tiffany brand to mean for your online audience? Are the core brand associations, point of difference, or brand image you want to create in their minds the same as your traditional in-store, potentially catalogue using relationship-focused, high-profile customers? Tiffany always delivers the same message of honouring the client, which is much easier to do when face-to-face with a client. Therefore, our website is a tool to which can generate a great experience of some sort for our clients, but also educate our customers on history and legacy, in addition to portraying our prices in the best possible light. Pieces. Do you currently use a measurement framework that is aligned to our online marketing objectives? What attitudinal, behavioural and financial KPIs are you currently tracking for your website, Facebook and Instagram? E.g., this is your assignment, all right? So let's see if she's answered your assignment. What sources of traffic do you get to your website? How much is direct traffic versus organic traffic versus social versus referral? I'm unable to answer this question due to our social media platforms being operated in New York, plus each market having their own local website. How many new versus returning visitors do you get? I do not have an exact figure, but our repeat rate is increasing as clients are more likely to buy once previously purchasing before. We have KPIs for our team that measures return business. What's your average session time, exit rate, bounce rate? Unable to give a figure. Are you employing any social listening tools to monitor social platforms currently? If so, have you noticed any sentiments trends emerging that you would like to address? Our social media platforms are run from our head office in New York, and I'm unsure as to whether they're using any social listening tools. Next question. Do you currently have a planned social media strategy, e.g. a specific idea of who you choose to follow back on Instagram, Facebook, whose post you will choose to like or comment on or share as a brand account? Again, unable to comment on our social media platforms. What has Tiffany's research into social media followers revealed about its audience? Can you tell us what percentage of Instagram, Facebook traffic comes from Australia? No. How much percentage of that Insta, Facebook, Australian traffic actually engages with the content in terms of likes, comments, or clicks on the website? Again, no answer. How much percentage successfully converts by purchasing online or coming in store? This doesn't answer the question directly, but 80% of our in-store purchasers have visited our website prior to visiting. We send a survey link to clients post-purchase and ask this specific question. Is there a gender skew? Do you want to change that? Majority of our pieces are designed to be worn by women. That over the last 4 years, Tiffany's has designed a large number of unisex pieces, plus more additions to our men's range, capturing the fashion-focused gentleman. In saying this, a large number of our clients are men purchasing for women. Currently, Tiffany's Australia and US websites are showcasing the same collection on its front page. Also, Tiffany's social media pages appear to be managed by the US branch. Has Tiffany's research into their target audience revealed any cultural differences that would warrant consideration of more localised digital campaigns? Or does Tiffany's Australia consider its in-store as well as its digital target market to be similar enough to the US to not warrant country-specific marketing strategies? Good question. The websites follow the exact same structure and only differ in pricing, returns policy and delivery. All social media platforms are run from New York, and majority of recognisable luxury brand social media platforms operate from the one location in order to control consistency and integrity of the brand. Next question. Which market segment constitutes the greater percentage of direct traffic to the website? Which one is the least? Do not have a figure. Over the last financial year, what percentage of net sales came from online purchases and in-store? Unable to answer as I don't have an exact figure. Regarding your Compass software, what performance metrics does the system measure? All right, that's the last part of the assignment. What evaluation techniques can the system perform? The Compass software system is predominantly used as a client database where we can track previous purchases worldwide. We can look up purchase patterns, what percentage of purchases are from what type of collection and general customer or client information. We also use this system to outreach clients and connect with them for special dates and necessary services that might need to be alerted to. What is the frequency of the generation of analytical reports for the management review? We receive analytical reports daily and review them daily.
Another one.
Okay, so that was one set of questions. Then we had another set of questions. Now, remember the answers that you get, just because I just read the last one on evaluation metrics, you need to come up with evaluation metrics that we talk about in class. All right, that did not answer that question. So don't just take the answer that we've just received and say, oh, but they said it. Okay, you've got to show that you understand the stuff that you're being taught. All right, that wasn't evaluation metrics. That was just how to use the database. Okay, so the question and the answer didn't necessarily match, and you need to be conscious of that. Make sure your answer does match. Yeah. All right, so here are some additional questions from another group. What proportion of overall sales in Australia are to Chinese tourists? We receive a report daily that tracks local versus non-local purchases at store level, but this report is only accurate if all client data is entered correctly. I currently don't have a proportion for you, and this would differ from store to store. Does Tiffany.com.au aim to target Chinese tourists, or are they targeted by Tiffany.cn before they travel? Tiffany has an official WeChat page from China, which is where our Chinese travelling clients generally get their Tiffany information from rather than the website. What is the target market for Tiffany.com.au? All clients, any aspirational buyer. All right, so that sort of clarifies a little bit for you the fact that some of you were already leaning towards target market is Chinese overseas tourists. That's not necessarily what it says here, yeah? So consider what is the market and what does the website actually show is the market. So who are we aiming to target? Okay, what percentage of sales are to women or to men? Don't have a figure, but a large number of our buyers are men buying for women. What percentage are gifts bought for self? Don't have a figure, but it would definitely be a large percentage for gifting. As per first presentation, when millennials were identified as a target, what age bracket does Tiffany consider to be millennials? There's a set definition, as we know. Formal definitions say that it's from the United Natives in 1990s and is equivalent to Gen Y, but colloquially often used to describe younger people that is closer in age to Gen Z. Therefore, please clarify. I cannot speak on behalf of Tiffany Global for their perspective, but my perspective of the young buyer is anyone falling between 16 and 35. So that gives you another segmentation variable, all right, age under your demographic, and remember you've got to talk about the different segmentation variables that you are going to target, yeah? And that gives you then your consumer profile. What timeframes does Tiffany use for objectives, monthly, quarterly or annually? What is Tiffany's target market share in Australia? What percentage increases of online sales does Tiffany aim for? What percentage increase of online leads for offline sales does Tiffany aim for? Unable to answer these questions. So if you ask things which are very specific to the organisation and competitive information, they're unlikely to answer, but we'll have them there because people have submitted them so that the person can formally not answer the question. What exactly is Tiffany's measuring on the website and for what purpose? All right, so here's some stuff that you will find interesting. Conversion, traffic, time spent, done in order to improve the shopping experience online for clients. What is the website conversion rate for e-retail sales, for leads? Closed deal rate for leads. This figure is rising but still low. You previously mentioned Louis Vuitton as a competitor. Does that mean the singular Louis Vuitton or the house of brands, which incorporates brands such as Bulgari? There are a large number of brands that fall under the LVMH, which are competitors of Tiffany, not just luxury fine jewellers, as now we're competing with fashion houses. Fashion desirability has changed and the ease of online shopping is making competition harder and harder. Other than the number of sales and foot traffic in stores, what do you look for when considering the success rate of customers and the business? Conversion, AVT, units sold, repeat rate of existing purchases, number of new purchases, satisfaction from service. Again, these are things that you need to consider, so these are relevant. Given social media platforms are global platforms, what are the objectives? Brand awareness, e-retail, lead generation. Okay, so this is interesting as well for you. For Facebook, brand awareness. All right, so if you're looking for brand awareness, you've got certain measures that link in with that, and you've got to look at what campaigns have been run in order to support that. For Instagram, brand awareness. For YouTube, brand awareness. What keyword, you might find that other things are there based on what they've already got on their digital media, you need to identify that as well and say, yep, you've said the objective is brand awareness, but we can also see you're achieving something else as well, all right? And that could be useful for you to point out. What keyword phrases are people using to come to tiffany's.com.au via Google? Unable to answer. What keyword phrases does Tiffany & Co target with paid searches to attract people to tiffany.com.au? Unable to answer.
Those you can find by yourself in the optimization. So,
yeah.
yeah. Interesting.
All right. So they're the questions that were presented. I don't think we have anything else. Now, are there any questions on the questions and answers? Or anything you think I might be able to answer if I was standing here as Tessa? All right. So you know that the first 15 odd minutes of the recording are the questions and answers. So if you wanted to go back and listen, first 15 minutes of the recording is all you need to spend, yeah?
Yeah. No competitive information.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So any other questions on anything we've covered so far in the course? We're nearly halfway, which is great. No worries, thank you. No. All right, that's why I said if we can, because they were given by certain groups, all right? So I've read out the question, I've read out the answer. You pick whatever, so this is like her standing here and saying the questions and the answers out to you. Yep.
They're not giving the figures on conversion and AOV and stuff like that, right? The matrix and everything. So how do we go about it? We don't have specific figures.
Okay, so remember the assignment doesn't ask you to give exact numbers, all right? So you're looking at different metrics that they should be using. You're looking at what they should be doing and what their current digital strategy is actually telling you. Is it an appropriate strategy for what they're asking to do? So for example, they're asking for brand awareness. Now we don't know what level of brand awareness they're asking for. They haven't given you exact numbers, all right? But one of the objectives will then be brand awareness, okay? Now you might come up with other objectives as well. You might look in the annual report, for example. So there might be other sources other than the guest speaker. This is where your research and some of the better assignments, all right, don't simply rely on what I tell them and what the speaker says, but they go to other sources, such as someone's annual report, if there is one, reading stuff on the website, okay, the About Us stuff. And the About Us stuff might say, over the last so many years, we've had an improvement of so many people coming through our stores. Or you might find that there's a number of additional stores opening up. All right, so all this stuff is not necessarily going to come from the guest speaker. All right, so anything that's competitive information that or she doesn't know, then she's not obviously going to relate to that. So the better assignments actually do some additional digging and identify some additional information, which turns out to be really good, because it actually shows that not only have you understood the process, which are the steps that someone makes up a good website and they do very good on-site SEO, and you can find a lot of different links, and we're going to be talking about off-site SEO in this particular lecture. Not only do they use Facebook or they use Instagram and all this sort of stuff that we're going to cover, everyone should get that. That should be pretty much your base. So everyone should get all the information that we're presenting during these sessions. Better assignments from less well done assignments simply rely on the information that's presented. Better assignments actually go and delve a little bit deeper. Okay? Now, if you do see any questions coming up from our crew online, then please let me know, and we'll see how we go there. Any other questions? All right, and the key thing is, like I said before, follow the rubric. Don't just listen to the answers that have been given. Evaluate whether the answers actually responded to the question, and you cannot rely, and you're not going to reference and say, but Tessa said, all right, or the answer said. That's not going to cut it if it's not in line with what the rubric is asking. So the idea is to make sure that you've understood the requirements of each section of the assignment and have come up with answers that fit that requirement, not necessarily what was given as an answer. I've simply read them. I haven't necessarily critiqued each of the answers to say, well, this doesn't answer it, that answers it, yeah, this doesn't make sense. That's for you to do. And this would be no different to the person standing up there and just giving this presentation to you as they see it. All right? There are some good answers there with some good information that you can use, especially on segmentation. All right? So it's a good start. But remember, you've got to go a little bit deeper. You've got to say, she talked about aspirational buyers. All right? What are they? So you've got to obviously develop a consumer profile and say, okay, well, this is the profile of an aspirational buyer. Is the medium that is being used consistent with what an aspirational buyer would use? All right, so that's the question that you've got to then evaluate. So once you know the target, and you don't have to pick that, you might decide it's something different. All right, but once you know the target, you then look at the medium that's being used and you decide whether that's being used well. If not, what recommendations would you make to improve the use of that medium? Or should it be another medium that's not currently being used? Okay, are there any questions? Is everyone on track with the assignment? Everyone understand the requirements? Is there any confusion on what's required? All right, very good stuff. Okay, so what we're going to cover this week is off-site SEO. Last week we looked at on-site SEO, okay? And we looked at maximising website relevance. We looked at how that can be done, all right? And we spoke about obviously having your keyword within the URL, having a title tag that actually makes sense, header tags, the actual content on the website, all about the website itself. All right. We also said that in order for a search engine to find you, you've got to speak of the customer. How are customers actually searching for your information? And therefore, keywords are really important to you. And we spoke about how we actually target optimal keywords. And remember, we're talking about organic searches, not paid search. All right, we're going to talk about paid search in a subsequent lecture, but in this one, we were talking about organic searches. All right, and these are some of the things that you can now assess by looking at some of the words that are being used in, for example, the Tiffany's website. So when you're assessing how well their on-site SEO is working, then you can do that by looking at the website a little bit more critically. We also looked at website quality, and we said that this is assessed mainly through the behaviour of the searchers. All right, so how are the searchers going to the website? Is there a high bounce rate, for example? Are they getting there and saying, this is wrong? Because every time that happens, and you heard one of the measures that they use is time on website. This is exactly what you're looking for, all right, and the search engine is looking for when they're assessing the quality of your website. So obviously this is now important for Tiffany's as well, and she actually mentioned that. Okay, so it's important that you then state that when you're assessing the website, that these are some of the things that they should be looking for as well. Now in this one here, we're going to be talking about off-site SEO, and we have to also keep changing the slides. We've had the briefing. We're going to talk about the popularity really of the website. The more people like your website and the more they rave about it, the better your off-site SEO is going to be. All right? It goes without saying. We're going to look at the strategies for building links, and we're going to look at content marketing to improve search engine rankings. All right, and what that means. So this week is all about off-site SEO. All right? Okay, search engines, as you know, rank pages based on relevance to the to the search phrase and also the quality of the website. Now, when you start talking about quality of the website, it's determined by a number of characteristics and the type of external links that you've got coming back to you. All right, so it's not just the fact that you've got multiple links all over the place. They've also got to be quality links. And we're going to see how the website decides whether the links you have are quality links. All right? Now, when you start talking about links to the website, you're talking about something written in HTML. All right, so if you were to look at the source code behind a particular image or some text on a website, you'll see some googly goop like that, which some of you are probably experts in HTML. Anyone here can write in HTML? Only 2 people. Okay, that's good. But this is the language that the computer understands, all right, that the web understands. We're not here to teach people how to write HTML code, and a number of the website builders, all right, the Wixes and the GoDaddies and those sort of programs that are out there will write this stuff in the background. You don't have to write the HTML code yourself like we used to do in the old days. All right, when websites first started, we had to know how to write the code. All right, and that's how we programmed where the image went and where you positioned the whole thing, and we used code such as that. Now this one here is from a website, which is my website, because I changed the example that we had in the original slides. This is, I've got 2 websites. I've got the Echo Bright website, and which is all about lighting and talks a little bit about the heaters. But we do have a separate website altogether, different domain name, which talks about the German-made infrared heaters. And I've got a picture on the Echo Bright website, which is linked, as you can see there, back to another website as well. All right? So that picture has got HTML code behind it that sends you to another page. All right? So that's one way that you can do it, and obviously text, and you've seen this in a number of websites where text is what they call hyperlinked. So you've used hyperlinking in Word documents, for example. Okay? And you see it in PDF documents. So you've all used this. You may not have written the code behind it, but you've all used it. All right? If you've got even in your signature block in your email, where you hyperlink the signature block to a website when you send out an email, so people can go to your website just by reading your email. All right, so these are what they call hyperlinks, uses HTML, and that allows us to create links. Another way to create links is having other people totally unrelated to you, all right? In this case, entrepreneur.com, which is a website that has a lot of different articles. And you can see here that you've got all these different links. Now, the boxes, of course, are not there. I've just put some blocks around them so you can see which ones are the hyperlinks. All right, so you can see within the document itself, I've highlighted some which are links to other pages. All right, so what you then do is you hyperlink certain words and you send them back to the relevant website where that term is appropriate. Now, when the search engine sees that, and it's from a respected source like entrepreneur.com, it'll say, this is good. All right, it looks like someone else is really interested in this website, and therefore I'll give it a better rating. Okay, now just to explain some of these links, Natural outbound links, and these are the green ones. So search engines love endorsements to reputable sites. So if you look at the green ones, they're the green ones, announced. This one here. All right, so again, another website. Funding statement. So these green ones here take you to other websites which are reputable as well. All right. Now you can also have some paid links. So if you look at the paid link, which is the advertisement on the right for T-Mobile, this one here is a paid link. All right, so paid links, again, not really ranked by the search engine, and then you've got natural internal links elsewhere on the same site. So they're the ones that are marked as orange. All right. Now, those orange ones will take you to other articles on entrepreneur.com. All right, so they're different types of links. They're internal to that entrepreneur.com one. The one that you want for the search engine is the one that takes you away from this one and onto your website. Make sense? Okay, so in terms of popularity, determined by search engine weighting are the following measures. Now, the algorithms that Google uses, obviously they're not going to tell us exactly what they are, all right? Otherwise, everyone will try and match the algorithm and try to beat it and all that sort of stuff. So they're kept secret for very obvious reasons. Now, you can go, and you'll find this in the notes on the lecture slides that I put up. You can go to the Google blog. That doesn't mean that the algorithm that they're using today or the information they provide you today will be the same as it is tomorrow. And they keep changing it for, again, obvious reasons, so people don't try to manipulate it. But there are certain things. As I said before, it all relies on your website being seen as popular. All right, so if you've got a lot of links back to your website that are from quality websites, then the chances are Google is going to think this website is really popular, therefore I'm going to rank it high for the search terms that appear to be relevant to that website. All right. Backlinks from relevant websites is obviously important, because if mine's a lighting business and the links are coming from women's clothing, depends on the type of link. If it talks about having done a shop, it's a case study, and we've changed the lights in a particular shop, that's a good link. If it's got nothing to do with it, then they're going to go, well, why is this link here? So the actual link is important. We've got anchor text. All right, that's decreased over time in terms of importance, but it's good that you have a tag that says what the link is about. So if you've got some sort of tag, that obviously improves knowledge about that link, and it allows the search engine to say, yes, this link is relevant. Link neighborhood. This is very, very important. Do not get caught out on this one. If you end up on spam sites and spam sites are linking to your website, then they're going to say, well, you're operating in a very bad neighborhood, therefore they're going to downgrade your ranking. All right, so again, who you associate with is obviously important. And we have a lot of people that will buy links. All right, and there's an example of 1,000 links for $5. Do not try that. All right, so I don't know if are you aware of these types of links where you can buy links? Yeah? All right, you've got to be very careful with those. Similar to what happens with social media and Instagram, where you can buy followers. You actually want things that are real. The more real they are, and they've got to be seen as real and more perceived as real and relevant, the better your ranking is going to be. All right, so it's critically important that you don't just buy links in order to get many links. Okay? Link freshness. All right, we talked about content freshness, we also need to have link freshness as well. So when we're talking about off-site SEO, we need to ensure that we've got a high quality website that continues to receive new backlinks. All right? If it slows down, the search engine's going to say, well, not too many people are linking to this anymore. All these links seem to be fairly old. Maybe they're not operating in this space anymore. All right, so having renewed links with additional websites then makes obviously that freshness increase. Link diversity. All right. Link diversity means that the links that you are getting are seen as independent. They're coming from the website that is linking to you without you having asked them to put it on there. All right, so that's link diversity. Link diversity, of course, enhances the page's popularity, and it's important that they come. How do we know that there's link diversity? It's important that they then come from different IP addresses. All right, so not having all these links sitting at the same IP address because you've created all these different websites. Okay, so it's important that you've got the link diversity in there as well. Social sharing. Okay, remember, linking is all about popularity. If you have people talking about you on social media and they're including links to your website, Google and search engines typically like that because they go, yep, people are talking about this, they must be doing something right, maybe I should give them a higher ranking for that particular word. Okay. Now, sharing on social media obviously gives the website a buzz, but again, the website, the search engine also can determine whether it's coming from you or not as well. So again, if you're trying to do it and you're going on Facebook and always putting your address on there, your web address, then the search engine will pick that up and not really consider it as a valid link. All right, so if it's coming from different people, and again, it doesn't use one or the other, it uses a whole combination of these variables in order to determine the quality of the links that are coming back to your website. Are there any questions on how a search engine determines the popularity of the page? Yep.
Say if we have a domain that has higher backlinks than a particular page.
Sorry, let's do the microphone so we can capture it.
Say we have a domain that has higher number of backlinks and than a particular like other website, but a particular page in the other website has more backlinks than the other page in this particular domain, which is like a competitor for this, like which has the same keywords for this. So when I type
I've lost the question already.
Okay, say for example, we have Amazon.com, which will have definitely have larger number of backlinks, and we have another website, okay, which is also does something like Amazon.com only, but with less number of backlinks. And there's a page for toys in Amazon, all right, that has less number of backlinks as compared to the toys page in that particular website in the other domain. So when does Google see which domain has a higher number of backlinks, or is it only the page?
Okay, good question. Remember that the search engines are not looking at websites, they are looking at pages as well. All right, so if your page is ranking highly, and this is why it's important that you have pages that are relevant and you don't have everything on the front page, right, talking about everything. So if you've got pages that are relevant and your page for toys, for example, is really, really popular with everyone, then yes, it will rank highly. Okay, so if Amazon is not well known for a particular thing, and we saw on there that clothing was not a feature for Amazon when we looked at Amazon early on, but you look at a clothing shop like Boss Suits, all right, Boss Suits is going to get, even though Amazon is so big and it gets a lot of backlinks, the Boss store is probably going to get more if you're looking for suits than say Amazon. Yeah? So Google is clever enough, and search engines, especially these days with artificial intelligence, are clever enough to be able to determine by page as opposed to website as a whole. All right? And that's why it's important that the backlink actually takes the person to the page that is irrelevant. Because what's that going to do? That's going to ensure that you don't have a high bounce rate. All right? Because if the person gets to another part of your website, which is not relevant to what they thought they were clicking on, are they going to go through and try and find the relevant information on your website? Some may, but a lot won't. A lot are going to go, what's this? It's not relevant, jump back out. Okay? So it's important that whatever links you're linking to, take them directly to the information that they want to see. All right? Are there any other questions? All right, so the second part is strategies for building links. Okay, so there are three types of links. So you've got editorial links, you've got manual links, and you've got manufactured links. And in terms of priority, that is the priority. So if you've got a lot of editorial links, then they will get looked at more favourably by the search engine than if you've got manufactured links. And we'll talk about each one of these in a little bit more detail, starting off with editorial links. Can you see why, just by looking at the definitions? All right, an editorial link is someone else is liking your page. You haven't told them to like your page. It appears to be totally independent. All right, there's no link between that page and your page other than the link that they put in. All right, that's an editorial link. When you're looking at a manual link, this is when you go to a directory and say, I'll give you $100 if you can put me on your directory, and off you go. Manufactured link, when you post your website in someone else's blog, but it's seen as a low-level endorsement in terms of ranking. All right, and we'll talk about manufactured links. So you've got some sort of reciprocal arrangement with someone. You link to me, I'll link to you type stuff.
So what happens on entrepreneur.com?
So on which one?
On the example before, when you get
Okay, so I would say that entrepreneur.com, you're looking at editorial links. Okay, so entrepreneur.com hopefully has independently assessed that the information on your website is relevant and includes it in the article. All right? Now, if you knew someone, of course, at entrepreneur.com and you said, look, it'd be really nice if you write an article about me, that's different, okay? But the search engine can't find that. What they can find is that something as credible as entrepreneur.com has mentioned you within the article. And you'll find credibility when you get, and it's happened to us, for example, when we did a studio in Geelong with the heaters, and the Geelong Advertiser promoted that studio, and within that article it had some links back to the website for the heaters. Now, I didn't ask the Geelong Advertiser to do that. The person writing the article decided to hyperlink back. Okay? So that is an editorial link, and that gives us more credibility because someone perceived to be independent has given us effectively an endorsement. All right? So the manual link, however, you can have plenty of manual links, but the search engine is not silly. It says, look, I know you've paid for this, all right? It's a directory. Anyone can get on it. It doesn't mean that you're anything special because you've paid for this. All right, so it gives you lesser priority. And then manufactured links are those that you're trying to create, and we'll talk about some of the different types of manufactured links, but typically it's things like you go to a forum, all right, and there's plenty of forums around where you discuss different products, and we've all seen this, and people then write, oh, you work for the company, don't you? And we've been to all these forums. like Whirlpool. You know Whirlpool? Where you search for products and you ask questions and people say, oh yeah, this is a really good product. Oh, here's the website. All right, and then you know that this person is actually working for the company itself and answering the questions. Those types of links are what they call manufactured links. Yeah? Now we're going to go through each one of these and just look at what constitutes a good editorial link, manual links and manufactured links, and why we should be avoiding the manufactured links. Okay, so when we're talking about editorial links, we talk about likable content. All right, so obviously people like the article that's been written in the Geelong Advertiser, they're more likely to click on the link. Makes sense. So if the article is attractive, for example, to your product or service, people are going to go, oh, I really want to find out more about this. So I'm going to click on this link and go to the website so I can find more information. So it's important with editorial links that the content is likable by the user. Visual content and infographics obviously attract attention. And I've given you an example what an infographic. There's actually programs that allow you to create infographics. So you get nice little images and you put them all together. It makes it nice and simple for the person to be able to look at that and go, oh yeah, I can see everything. All right, so I can click then on that infographic and it can take me back to the website where it's come from and I can find out more information. But it gives you a very quick snapshot of the whole thing. Images are also important, so visual content is very important as well. All right, because people get attracted to the image. So if you've got a nice studio being shown with people doing yoga and that is hyperlinked back to the heaters, people are more likely to click on that image. Yeah? Expertise. Okay, so if the website that is linking to you is seen as an expert in a particular topic, obviously that's going to be good editorial content. So if you've got an expert or a university, for example, talking about the value of far infrared treatment, okay, and then it's linking back to your far infrared heaters, that's going to give you a higher ranking than if it's just someone talking about infrared heaters. Yeah. So the credibility or the expertise of the person providing that editorial comment is obviously important. Videos, all right, so again, it's the type of content that you're talking about. If you've got some videos there, and again, YouTube videos, that makes the person more interested in the product as well, so they're more likely to come to you, and that can generate backlinks through the video. All right, especially when you've got a description underneath the video and it says for more information go to. Yeah? And of course press releases. All right, so the way that the article ended up in the Geelong Advertiser was that the studio that had only recently opened put out a press release. Now, in a country town, and Geelong is a country town, you're more likely to get local papers taking up your press release because they're always looking for content and filling up their pages. Even if it doesn't make it in the main paper, it might make it onto their website. All right, so not all articles they write on the website makes it into the hard copy of the paper, but by putting out these press releases, you might get people taking it up, looking at it and going, this is good, does my job for this week, okay, and include it. Okay, so that's what you can do with editorial content. Any questions on editorial? It's all pretty simple stuff. Once you look at it, it all makes fairly clear sense. When we're talking about manual link building, we're talking about a number of different ways that we can do this. All right, and to be honest, I've used all of them. All right, and most businesses will use all these manual links where you submit to directories. Directories will call you up and say, look, we want to promote your product on our directory. It's going to cost you $100 a year, or whatever the figure might be. And you link to the directory. There's others that are free directories. So you can go on there and you can promote your product on that directory. Example of a directory, Green Pages, for example, I use. So Green Pages has got products that we have. Yeah. So, but the directory doesn't have to be a paid one. It can be a free one, because what they get their money from is other advertising that happens on the page. All right. So they might entice you with a smaller ad to begin with, which is just maybe a listing, right? Yellow Pages. I'm on Yellow Pages as well. So I'm on Google My Business. So you can get all these different types of directories where they'll entice you with a free ad, and then they say, okay, well, if you want to add more than one image, right, then you got to pay this much. If you want to add 10 images, you pay this much. If you want to put out messages as well, we can do that as well to our base. It's going to cost you X. So they then have different packages or different levels of packages. Okay, but we're not going to talk about how we get onto directories or what we do with directories. This is more about understanding that you can generate manual links, and directories being one way of doing that. Local business profiles, so Google My Business. All right, I don't think there should be too many businesses out there that haven't been either approached by Google or seen others and done it themselves where they don't go onto Google My Business. All right, it's a great resource because it gives you reports every month, and it actually tells you how many people have found you through Google My Business, how many people have then clicked to come to your website. So it's obviously very important that especially small businesses that are trying to generate some traffic are on these types of directories. Social bookmarking sites such as Pinterest, all right, allow users to save and share links to a website, and social networking sites such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter allow business owners or website owners to create profiles with a place to specify a link. So when you look at an Instagram account for a business, for example, it'd be highly unlikely that there's not a website there for people to click on. All right. So now, additional ways that you can do manual linking is you can certainly ask for links. All right. So if you know other businesses in the area, you can say, look, if you put my website on your website or my link on your link, then I'll do the same for you. All right. Remember, they've got to be relevant. Okay. Otherwise, Google is going to downgrade you. It's going to say this link is not relevant to the people that are going to this website. Okay. So trading links is what that's called, and guest blogging. All right. So what guest blogging is people that are promoting your particular product on their blog are then linking back to your product. Okay, so again, some of those are paid. So you actually pay someone to do a promotion. You've all seen it, all these public figures, for example, on Instagram, they write little stories and they say, oh yes, today I had a treatment at Salon X, or today I visited Yoga Studio Y, and they have a little video or an image from Studio Y. Okay, if you're in the area, come and see them. So those types of links are guest bloggers. Typically, you pay for those because that's how they make their money. Any questions on how you can create manual links? There's a number of ways, all right? So they're just some of the most common ways. But anything that you initiate is called a manual link. Anything that's totally independent is an editorial link. All right, so that's the key difference between the two. All right, so even though we said press releases for editorial, Just because you send a press release doesn't mean they're going to accept it. All right, it's still up to the person, and they obviously can change what you're saying in the press release. All right, and the final way of link building is manufactured links. All right. Now, it is suggested that we don't try and manufacture links, all right, because they do get penalised. So, commenting on posts in other blogs with your hyperlink. That's the most common way that people try and manufacture a link, where you go on these forums and you start putting your website link on there. Okay? Forum signatures. Does everyone know what a forum signature is? And again, you can get programs that allow you to create forum signatures. So if you're part of a forum, it's a little bit like your handle. You make an avatar of yourself or something, and you sign off your comment with this little picture of your signature. It's not a signature as in sign, but it's a picture, and that picture's got a hyperlink behind it. All right, so they can click on that and it comes back. So when you're talking on the forum, all right, you just sign off with your little picture, and that's called a forum signature. However, that type of manufactured link, you can comment on anything. All right, so they don't take too much notice of those types of backlinks. So the fact that you've gone on all these forums and started commenting on everything and putting this link on there in the form of, say, a picture, then that's not relevant anyway. You've seen people on Whirlpool where they got their picture, yep, and you can click and you can go to their website or wherever else they're going. Free article directories, no quality control. If you're submitting articles somewhere and there's no quality control on what goes up, okay, that's not considered, that's a manufactured link. So you're the one writing the information. So again, it's not independent. So it's a manufactured link. Creation of your secondary site purely to create a link. All right, again, it's a case of where people try and create multiple websites and creating a link. It doesn't even have to be a website. It could just be a link that takes you back to your primary website. All right, the search engines can pick up some of these, especially if they're all coming from the same IP address. All right, so it's important to be conscious that you're not necessarily doing it because you're creating a link, but because you think it's relevant to have a separate website. Any questions on manufactured links? Can you see why they're not that well regarded by the search engines? All right, so the key thing to remember, 3 types of links. We've got the editorial link, we've got the manual links, and we've got the manufactured links. So in summary, when you're looking at your assignment, you start looking, where can I find any links to Tiffany's? Could be the Jurors Association, it could be an article that someone wrote, it could be a blog. So start considering how many links a particular website has got to it. Now, there are some analytical tools, and if you read on Google how to identify links to a website, and some of you might already be using it, especially if you're working in this SEO, you can go and find the number of links that are linked to the website. Okay, so you can do that sort of analysis in the background. Is it expected? Not necessarily, all right, but the much better assignments will go to that effort and try and find the number of links. Okay, and as I said, there's analytical tools that allow you to do a lot of this work if you're working in the space of SEO. You want to know who's linking to a particular website. Okay, all right, any questions? Anyone here that's working in SEO, done any of this work for a client that they want to share a story? of how they went about creating links or backlinks to that website? Any off-site SEO stories? I know some of you have worked in that. No one here? All right. Just adds a little bit of realism to this sort of stuff. Like I said, I mentioned the things that we've done in the past, all right, in order to generate additional traffic coming to our website. And if you're obviously doing it for a client, sometimes you can be successful and be really successful, and other times it may or may not work. So a lot of these things take a lot of hard work. Okay, it's not easy to do unpaid advertising, i.e. SEO, as opposed to SEM. You can buy any keyword you want. If you've got enough money, you can buy whatever you want, okay? So that'll give you a position. But to do it organically, obviously you've got to work really hard, all right? It takes time, and you need to be very intimate with how people are searching for your information. All right? Keep refreshing it, keep doing it, making sure others know about you and therefore want to talk about you. All right? So the more independent they are in terms of the links, the better you're going to rank. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about link baiting. And that's the definition of link baiting. So I'm just going to give you just some very quick examples. And as you can see, that's a definition. I'll let you read it. Okay, so what you're doing there is you're actually creating content which is seen as being relevant, being attractive, that then allows that content to be linked to your website. All right? And some of the examples of link baiting okay. Now this one here has got, this Moz has a number of tools and it allows you to check how you can get better rankings, so it's got a lot of information. So there's content that would be relevant to people and therefore you're going to be interested in looking at that. All right? So these are just examples. There's no need to take any notes of these. This is just introducing the concept of link baiting. So you can see the links there. All right. 120, as it says there, 120 leading search marketers. Over 80 ranking. All right. Those are links. So you can click, that's linkable content. Here's another example. Again, this is interesting to people. And you can see there's a source down the bottom, which is the link. So it gives you some information, and then it's got a source down the bottom, similar to what I had when I gave you the definition. See how I wrote down the source? This is where I got it. If you want to find out more, you click on that, and off you go. All right? So you create interesting content. Okay, so this one here has got links everywhere. So if you look at the left-hand column, you can see the links. You can see comments. 101 ways to build link popularity. All right, obviously interesting to people. They might go into the discussion forum. They might take part in the discussions. And again, you look at the source, you can click on that. Okay, RSS tutorial. interesting content. If you want more information about RSS, bang, you can click on that and off it goes. Plenty more examples, interesting contents about politics, but then you've also got these other links there for OkCupid. WordPress SEO, if you've got a WordPress site and you want to improve the SEO of that WordPress site, then this would be of interest to you because it's got some articles. And you can see that it's got some links down the bottom. All right, again, registered users. There's an infographic there. Remember, an infographic is a graphic that provides information. Now, it can be a chart such as this, or it can be those images that I showed you when we first started. There's another infographic. All right, so it captures everything in one slide, so you can see everything together. And this is very interesting. If we knew what it was, interactive music map. Okay, again, if you click on that, it'll take you somewhere as well. Okay, so there were the strategies for building links. Any questions? We all remember the 3 types of link building strategies. Okay, so just remember those when you're making your assessments. These are also very good exam type questions because they're nice and self-contained. All right, so you can discuss the different ways of generating links, or for example, if someone said, okay, what are the key elements that make good on-site and off-site SEO? All right, so remembering some of this stuff is probably relevant as well. Now, on Stu Kent, on the site that your book is on, there is a video there. There is a guy there that talks for about 45 minutes, and he talks about both on-site and off-site SEO. All right. Now, first 5 minutes you can ignore because he talks about himself. All right. And then the rest of it is relatively relevant, and it's about half-half. So about the 20-minute mark, it talks about the other type. All right. So if you wanted to watch that video, there is so much information on this stuff. You don't know what to believe, what not to believe. All right. But at the end of the day, like I said, there's no magic pill. All right. It does take hard work. You've got to understand your customer base. All right. SEO will assist you. The analytics and the packages that are out there will assist you in identifying how people, for example, are searching, but it's your content. If they don't find your content engaging, they don't find your content appealing, your on-site SEO is not going to be that great. If they find your website confusing. Okay, so there's a lot of work that you've got to do, and then to be successful in off-site SEO, there's a lot of work you've got to do as well, because you've got to make sure other people think that you've got something valuable to say. All right? So someone that's going to come in not really knowing your business and say, I'm going to get you the best SEO we can and you're going to be number 1 on the Google search, don't believe them. It takes time. It takes time. All right? Now, the final point that we're going to cover is using content marketing to improve search engine rankings. Now, some of you may know about the Michelin Guide, and there was some good information there because I didn't actually know this. Now, we all know Michelin tires, and I often wondered why we call it the Michelin Guide. We heard of the Michelin Guide, about the top restaurants?
Michelin stars. Give stars.
They give stars, but who developed it? Huh? We don't know who developed it yet. But look at the reason why it was developed. It was developed in the 1900s, early 1900s. All right, it was developed by the Michelin brothers, who had a tyre manufacturing business. They made tyres, Michelin tyres. All right? But this is so clever. They developed a guide to all the different types of restaurants, all right, to get people to drive a long way so they can use tyres and then have to buy more tyres. How clever is that? All right, so content marketing doesn't have to be directly related to what you do. And this is the aim of this one here. So the Michelin Guide is a perfect example of how something which appears on the surface of it to be totally unrelated to tyres. So if I said to you, Michelin Guide and tyres, what's that got to do with it? Not too many people would have come up with, well, this is to get people to actually drive to these restaurants and use the tyres. All right? This is what they thought. And Michelin Guide, some of you may have seen, looks a little bit like this. All right? Now, the guide itself, what makes this content important and relevant? The reason is that the Michelin Guide is trusted. So if you're going to be creating content, then you've got to make sure that the content is accurate and is relevant to the people that are going to be using it. So you can't just make up stuff. So if the Michelin Guide was giving 5 stars, like you mentioned they have a star system, and you go to that restaurant and it's really not even worth a 1 star, then word will get out. And all of a sudden that Michelin Guide is not going to be trusted anymore. All right, so you need to be absolutely sure that your content is accurate. Content marketing is a soft sell message that builds a strong relationship with your brand. And it can't be any softer than this. I'm not telling you about tyres. Sure, I'm using my name, but there's nothing to do with tyres in this. It is totally unrelated, can't be any softer. Okay? And not too many people would have connected distance travelled, tyre wear, and a restaurant guide. All right? Very, very clever. Now, develop your content by analysing keyword searches made by your potential customers. All right? It doesn't have to be so far-fetched, right? Tyres, restaurant guide, what's the link? Okay, it can be something very specific. So another example was Hasbro, which is a toy manufacturer, created the Transformer morning cartoon in 1984, boosting the sales of their Transformer action figures. All right, so cartoon, kids would look at the cartoons, Hasbro would make the toy, the Transformer toys, and there was a link. So content marketing can be created in other mediums as well to support your sales of the product. Okay? Now, content that ranks. Okay? They're just the different types of content that you've got there. So you've got everything from blog post, short form, evergreen content, long form article. They're just different types of content that actually ranks. They're just examples. All right? Does everyone understand the concept of content marketing? These websites are not important, all right? They're just, as I said, examples. The important thing is that we understand what content marketing is about. Okay? So if someone came to you and said, can you do some content marketing? We understand what that means. All right? We want to create a link between our brand and content so that people can come to our website and find out more information about us. Or come to our store in the Tiffany case. So what sort of content marketing do you reckon Tiffany's has got? Let's see if you understand. So you're now Tiffany's. What sort of content marketing? Tiffany's come to you and said, look, I need to create some content. What sort of content would you create if you're going to do content marketing? Sorry? Something related to weddings? Yeah. What else? Remember, we're trying to, for the soft sell approach, content marketing is trying to create the link without the direct link. We're not advertising the jewelry. Some emotional connections, yes. So you can make videos. What else can you do? What are jewelry usually made of? Sorry? Diamonds, yeah. So maybe you can have an expert talking about the different types of diamonds, the clarity, the colour, all right, the shape. So they can start looking at that sort of stuff. Okay, so that's content marketing. It's interesting. It's a soft sell. All right. And then there can be a link to Tiffany's down the bottom there as well. But it's not directly saying, go and buy this stuff at Tiffany's. It's actually giving you information about how to choose a diamond. All right, so that could be an example of content marketing. Any questions on that? Now, there are 3 steps in content marketing. It has to be relevant, and I'm going to go through these in more detail. Relevant, appealing, fresh content. You've got to have a strategy for not only the creation, but also the distribution of the content. And the conversion of the customer needs to be done in a non-aggressive way. All right, so that's what makes successful content marketing. So they're doing things not because you're pushing them and hard selling them. They're doing things because they think they're now interested in whatever you've got to sell. All right, so the effort goes into giving them relevant information, getting them to visualize what they want, and then coming to your side. Okay? Now, in terms of relevant content, here's an example similar to what we said with Tiffany's. Here's Gillette, relevant content. It's relevant, but it's not saying come and buy our shavers. It's giving you some information similar to what we said with the diamonds. It's giving you some information on the right beer style to suit your face. All right. So it's going to say for your oval face, this is the sort of beard you should have. For your square face or your pear-shaped face, you have a different type of beard. All right. Now, nothing to do with their beard trimmer. So that's what we call relevant content. If you're talking about Tiffany's, talking about the different types of diamonds you can buy is relevant content. If they started talking about dog food, that's not relevant content, correct? Unless you're going to be talking about dog collars, yeah? There you go. Shape your beard. There's a little video there that you can play, and you can actually get to see the different types of faces and the different beards that they believe match your face type. Quite interesting. I hadn't seen that before. Anyone use that? No? Not too many beards in the room anyway. All right, so you've seen it and you decided not to have one. Very good. Good choice. Okay, continuing on with relevant content. Important news updates show your company is active, so you can have new products available, sales and promotions, different articles, reviews, Q&A. All right, so that's all relevant content. But remembering, if you're going to do content marketing, you need to ensure that the content is relevant and you're trying to give them information rather than saying, come and buy. All right? So that's a little bit of a difference. Now, distribution of content, like I said, is very important. People make the content and then forget that they actually got to get it out there to the people. All right? So we've got to make sure that the content goes out to where it's meant to go. Now, all of us hope that whatever content we create is going to go viral, don't we? And that's great, but it doesn't always happen. Doesn't always happen. And you can't control it. Otherwise, it wouldn't necessarily be viral if you were able to control it and just make it viral. Okay? But we've seen something which is, on the surface of it, not something that you would imagine would go viral, all of a sudden does. So sometimes you can be lucky and you can stumble across really good content that happens to go viral. So the distribution of the content could be via email or through promoted stories on blogs or websites. All right, so you can pay, like I said, for additional exposure. You can have advertised stories. Okay, so you can pay for content. It's good if something is going to go viral that it's genuine as opposed to trying to make it go viral. All right, so sometimes people create videos. Those more impromptu videos tend to be the ones that go viral, not the ones that people try and create. Although some of the advertisements, for example, have gone viral because, much to the delight of the people making them, someone has seen or people have seen something that they hadn't imagined before, and all of a sudden it spread. All right, it could be for good reasons, could also be for bad reasons, so you've got to be careful there as well. And the final part is non-aggressive American Express. All right, small business information. So if you look at this particular website here, you wouldn't necessarily know that it's for American Express. And this one here is on something called Open. It's Open Forum. And on Open Forum, what they have is articles on small business, or that would be useful for small business. So they've got a lot of articles there. Now, of course, the purpose of this forum is to get people to think about credit cards, and when they're thinking about credit cards, to think about American Express. But it's what we call a soft sell. It's not aggressive. It's not saying come and buy American Express or come and take out an American Express credit card. So in this case, we're talking about content which is through providing good information through a forum that is relevant to your target audience, and then all of a sudden slip in there that, yeah, you should have a credit card, and yeah, you should have a credit card which has got these types of features. Oh, and by the way, American Express has got one of those. All right? So it's a soft sell. And because it's also the principle of reciprocity, all right, someone is giving you something, and you see this all the time. So some of you may have been involved in the writing of white papers. Why do we have white papers, do you think? That again is content marketing. You know about white papers, yeah? You understand white paper? Yes, no? You know when people write some information so they don't give you all the information there is to know? So it could be a white paper on best practice SEO. That could be the white paper. All right? And you offer it to anyone that's going to give you their email address. Okay? Now, it's not because you want their email address just to send them the white paper. You want their email address because down the track you want to sell them something, okay, which might be SEO services. But content marketing is writing an article on best practice SEO and then getting people to go, oh, these people know what they're talking about. All right, yeah, I'll have this white paper and I might now contact this company to help me with my SEO. So that again is another example of content marketing where there's this element of reciprocity. They've given me something, I've got to give them something back. I'm reciprocating. Any questions on that? Okay. All right. If there are no questions, and since our guest speaker wasn't here to take up a bit of time, we've gone through those questions, and it's now time for a break. 20 minutes, please, and we'll come back and we'll do the final part of this period. Okay, people online, do you have any questions? I'm sitting in front of the computer now. Can you still hear me? Very good, thank you.
On catalog, can Gumtree be considered as a catalog when you post to your website and all the posts you are selling?
Yeah,
Because you got the option of not selling on Gumtree, like Laura selling this cup. Like
you
the
can
website.
sell as a business.
Yeah,
Same
you
with
can sell
eBay,
as a
you can have an online store.
So yeah,
So that is an external link, yes?
so that would be a catalog.
That would be a catalog.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it depends on, look, it knows that it's you. So the search engine already knows it's you, so it's not going to give you as good a rating as if you had it through an expert type link. Yeah,
So it can be manual.
that would be a manual. Yeah,
Ah, okay.
All
Now
right.
the difference.
yeah.
Cool.
So that's the difference. Whereas an editorial link, all right, is a good link because you didn't ask for people to put you there; they decided on their own. Yeah. So the more removed you are from the link, the better it ranks. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No worries. Hello. You need a change in your group? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we don't put people, I think you would have responded that we don't put people into groups, and you need to identify someone in here that would take you as part of the group. It's good that you come into classes because this is in the 20 minutes. Good opportunity to talk to some people in here. And some people have got 3 people, they can have up to 4. I know one group has only got 2 people. All right? So, yeah, so talk to a few people here and see if they can get you in a group. Yeah? Okay. Hello. Yep.
Just want to ask you about the objective of the assignment. What should be the just want you to recommend what should be the objective of the assignment?
The which one, sorry?
The objective. So what should just want you to give the advice what should be the objective of
The aptitude?
objective.
Objective. Sorry. I'm trying to think what is.
Pronunciation.
Yeah. Okay, so the objective, all right, for the business. Now they've already told
For
you.
the assignment.
They've already told you in the questions that we answered that one of their objectives is brand awareness. All right, so you've got to think, is that being reflected in what they do on the website? So by analysing all the other stuff, you've got to say, okay, this is the objective that they mentioned, brand awareness. Okay.
First, we have to objectify what we have to know to a particular product in Tiffany.com.
The objective is not your objective. It's what you think the objective is for Tiffany's.
Okay.
This is the marketing objective though. So what I don't want to see is people saying their objective is to sell more jewellery.
More jewelry, more watches.
Yeah, so that's not their objective. That's not your marketing objective, all right? So your marketing objective is what she's already told you. So things like brand awareness is an objective, all right? That's a marketing objective, okay? Now you can come up with other things as well.
And
All right.
then we have to identify all the key indicators, and then we have to look.
So then you start looking and saying, is the website, so for example, the first thing you need to evaluate is the website, okay? After the website, you need to look at Facebook. So those two I've said you must do, okay? So because I don't want people going, ignore the website and ignore Facebook. Those 2 things you've got to do.
Another social media.
And then you've got the other social media ones, okay? So then you can pick YouTube or Instagram or whatever you want to pick. I don't care what the other ones are, okay? But website and Facebook are the 2 that you then evaluate, okay? So then you say, based on what we've just been discussed, the performance measures are right at the end, okay?
And
So
what should we include in performance measures?
what you think are relevant for brand awareness or whatever objectives you've set up front,
How to
okay?
confront to the objective.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you confirm that brand awareness is increasing, for example?
Okay.
Okay?
So we
Now,
have to
the key,
link that performance measures to
to whatever objectives you put up the...
Okay.
So the first part of the assignment says these are the objectives.
Okay.
You've evaluated all these different tools. You've given recommendations that they can be used better.
Okay.
And then you have some evaluation metrics. All right? The evaluation metrics then link back to the objectives.
Okay.
Now-
Evaluation is
Yeah.
again linked back to the.
Now, the objective has to be related to a target market as well.
Okay.
All right? So awareness amongst whom?
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, sure.
So you can't just say brand awareness. Okay? So then you've got to look at the target market. And then you've got to profile that target market. Now, those answers, she's giving you some hints.
Okay. That's 15 minutes.
Those 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so you go through and you listen again.
Okay.
So because she's told you what sort of people she's after.
Okay.
Okay? So you then evaluate those and you say, okay, there's now my objective based on these segmentation bases. And you know the 4 segmentation bases? Demographic,
Demographic.
psychographic, behavioural, and geographic. All right, so they're the 4 segmentation bases. But underneath those, there's also what we call segmentation variables. So segmentation variable, she's already mentioned, is age.
Age, yeah.
All right, so each one of those will have different, yeah, age, income, they're all demographic variables. All right, but you've got to do that and create a consumer profile and say, okay, this is now the consumer that she expects to look at the website. And you use that and you say, I'm now evaluating based on what this consumer is seeing. Now you might come up and say, this consumer is not quite the one that's going to be looking at Facebook all the time. All right? So you might have some statistics that show that that particular age bracket has a lesser time. I'm making it up. All right? But that's a sort of analysis that you've got to do.
But that this particular age of group spend less time on Facebook. So how would we do brand awareness so that our Tiffany.com
Yep.
site is reachable to them?
Yep. So that's when you recommend 2 other social media tools. You can say, based on what we said before, these are the other 2 social media tools that we're going to use. Instagram, whatever, right? Is it appropriate for this age group?
Yeah.
Okay?
For particular age group.
For particular target.
Market.
Yeah,
We're going to select.
correct. All right?
Yeah.
Similar to what you would do with traditional marketing, you're now doing with digital.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So for example, TV
Okay.
is less appropriate to this age group because they don't watch as much TV.
Much TV, yeah.
All right? Same stuff. So there's some social media tools that they do use, some social media.
Advertisement on TV, we're going to use only social media.
You're only doing social media, no TV, no nothing. Yeah? This is all about digital.
Digital, yeah.
Yeah?
All campaigns, digital campaigns.
Only digital campaigns. All
How
right?
about the message part?
The message part?
Yeah.
The message part comes out of what she's told you and what you find on the website or what you find in your research. So if you go to the website, when it talks about us, what are they saying? Is there some key words in there that positions or differentiates Tiffany's? So that's then the message that they want to send to their target market. You understand that? So if you're looking at the website and it's,
The main one, the home one.
yeah, is there a message in there? What's it trying to tell?
At the top of the...
No, when you read it, is Tiffany's saying something?
Yeah.
All right?
What message they're going to convey to
Correct.
consumers.
Yeah. So when you look at that
We have to
website,
identify that message.
yeah, and she's already told you what Tiffany's is trying to do. So that's when you generate the message. It's nice if you can write a positioning statement.
Yeah.
All right?
And what about that case study that you have given us, IBIS case study about jewelry and retail outlets?
This is just for you to read. So within those links, all right, there's a lot of information. So what we try to do is someone has already assessed, for example, their digital strategies.
Okay.
All right? So you can go to that and you can read it. Don't copy it.
Okay.
All right? But you can read it and that gives you a bit of an idea.
Yeah.
All right? And that's why all those web links are there. These are just resources for you to use.
Okay, yeah.
So you're not searching around for information.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff on the web. Yeah?
Okay. And we have to discuss this on-site and off-site optimization, searching and optimization.
This is only when you're assessing. All this stuff we're doing now is to do with a website.
Okay.
In the subsequent lectures, we're going to be talking about Facebook. We're going to be talking about other social media tools.
Okay.
All right. Next week, I've got the Deacon digital marketer coming and giving us a presentation.
Okay.
All right. So they're going to talk about how Deacon uses social media tools. All right. So you can listen to that and say how appropriate is it for Tiffany's. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. No worries. Thanks. Okay, we'll get started again. And we've still got everyone online. Can you hear me online? Thank you. Okay, so the next part of the session is actually trying to put these things into play. So stuff that we've done about off-site SEO. Now, some of you might be very interested, and I just received an email here, so that's why it reminded me. Some of you might be interested in getting more involved in understanding how Google Analytics works. There is something called the Google Analytics Academy. I don't know if you've seen that. So if you go on there, you can do all these free courses and you'll become even more expert. All right, if you want to become the mechanics. Okay, so If you just want an overview so you can guide someone that's doing this for you, then this is what we're providing. But if you do want to become the mechanics and really want to use some of this analytics in the background and try and help people with their websites and then with their SEO, then get yourself an account. It's free to set up an account. You can do these courses on Google Analytics, and they'll even give you certification that you've completed the course once you get 80% pass on the test that they provide. So that's another little thing that you can do. And in fact, the reason I got the email was we're pleased to announce a new course on the Analytics Academy, which is called Introduction to Data Studio. Similar to all the stuff that we've been talking about using data to drive our decisions. And Data Studio is a free collaborative data visualization tool. In this new course, you'll learn how to use Data Studio to view data from Google Analytics and other sources, design charts that bring your data to life, and share interactive reports with others to help you make data-driven decisions. All right, so those, as I said, that are interested can certainly go and have a look at that. In the last session, apart from the questions that we answered from the groups, there were 3 objectives. The first one was to look at, as we said, what makes good off-site SEO, and we mentioned that the first objective is website popularity. And we looked at what makes a website popular, all right, and how we can get various links to come back to our website and what's important for those types of links. And we then started looking at some of the strategies for link building. What are those? What makes a good link? And we mentioned 3 things. So obviously if you've got links which are editorial links, as we've called them, then they are independent and obviously highly valued by the search engine. You then have manual links where you are on a directory, for example, and then we have manufactured links where you're trying to create some links which, again, the search engines tend to downplay. The next part is, of course, trying to bring those 3 learning objectives into play with some little activities. And again, the activities are related to this one. And we're going to reflect back on DARE again. So remember, those people that were here last week would remember the DARE case study. Yeah, so remember Dare Milk? We're going to be using DARE as the case study in this, and we're going to try and answer a few of these questions. Now again, we're going to do them in groups, and I'll come around with the microphone so people that are offline can also hear some of the discussion that's taking place in the room. First question that we have is identify some other websites that Dare Iced Coffee should link to in order to build traffic. Give examples of websites that would not be appropriate to link to. So this is similar to what you'd be doing in the assignment. You'd be looking at what websites they are linked to, whether they're appropriate or not. So this is all part of the evaluation of their SEO strategy. All right, so you'd be saying, in terms of Tiffany's, for example, if they're linked to something that is inappropriate, or you consider to be inappropriate or not the right website to be linked to, you'd be making a recommendation that should not be linking to this site because it is likely to be downgrading their ranking. Or you can make an evaluation that the websites that they are linked to are good, and you give a reason why you believe that they are good. All right? So that's how you go about evaluating the website. So you look at the on-site stuff, which is what the website looks like, but then you start, when you're looking at the off-site stuff, then you start looking at some of these links. Okay? Now we're going to do exactly the same little example using Dare Iced Coffee. As I said, you can use analytic tools that you can then see where the links are. In this case, we're not going to do that. because you won't have them on your computers. But if you wanted to go and research how to install these tools into your Google browser, then they're just add-ons, and that will give you the types of links that the website is linked to. The way you're going to do it for Dare Coffee is you're going to think, okay, if I put in Dare, what comes up? Where do they appear? All right? And then you're going to say, are these appropriate? What links should they have? So the first question, and we'll take 15 minutes, and I'll be coming around with the microphone. Just do it make it in larger groups. So from the fourth row on this side, there's 2, 4, 6, 7 people on this side. Yep, so there's one group there. There's 3, 5, 7 here. That's another group there. You 4 at the back. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 and 4. So 4 here and 4 at the back. All right, so they're your groups. If we can start looking at this one, same with the people that are online. If you can start discussing what the various links are, we'll do 15 minutes and I'll walk around with the microphone so we can get some of the discussion, and then we'll come together again and we'll have one person nominating from each group that will quickly tell us some of the links that they've identified. And I'm particularly interested, all right, it's very easy to find links that are appropriate. I'm particularly interested in any that you feel are not appropriate. All right, and a reason for that. Any questions on the question? All right, thanks very much. I'll be coming around and seeing what you guys are doing. I'll give you a couple of minutes to settle in the group, and then I'll walk around with the mic. Okay. Have you found any websites that are Do any of you work in SEO? Do you have the Google Analytics tool that connects to and gives you the number of links? Okay, there is a tool that is an add-on. So you've got it, or? You don't have to do it now. This is if you had it, that's fine. Now you're just looking for websites, yeah? But if you had it, it automatically tells you where the links are coming from, external links, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. All right. But now if you're just searching for the website and do a search on Dare, see where Dare appears. Okay. and see if you can classify the content. So you've already found financial review, which is an editorial content. I noticed on there it had Lion, which talks about the manufacturer of Dare. So that's a good link, you hope. All right. See if you can find some which you consider to be inappropriate. All right. They're appearing on websites which you don't believe they should be appearing on. Yep.
Question.
Mhm.
I was looking for their iced coffee, and I just came up this website about revealing the partnership of this St. Kilda.
That's
Football,
editorial.
because they're the partners.
But is that a link? Does it link back to Dare? That can be a story, but is there a link within the story to take you back to Dare? No.
So it's not.
So it's not a link. So just because they appear on a search doesn't mean that they're linked to that particular website. So there's no link back to the website. So what you're going to find is other websites that talk about Dare milk, for example, and then there's a link back to the website. So for example, they found financial review that talks about the manufacturer of Dare coffee, which is Lion, but it links back to the ASX because it's a listed company. Yeah. How are we going here? I can hear myself from the speaker there. Fantastic. Now, have you found any websites that are linked back to Dare? Good. Maybe also think about what sort of websites they are. Whether they're editorial, whether they're a manual link, they're a manufactured link. Are there any forums that talk about Dare?
Kind of like TV advertisement.
Okay.
I don't think it's appropriate. I think they put it just on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
not really.
Okay, so are there any other websites that link back? So for example, Woolworths would be links.
Yeah. So
That one's their ad. So,
yeah, like the iced coffee. I think it's an app.
oh, best ads? No, best ads is something that is independent. So this is editorial. So they're talking about ads that they consider to be good. So that's good. All right. So if they consider their advertisement to be good, and it has a link back to Dare, then people will talk about it. All right. So that's good as well. Okay. So it might link back to their YouTube channel, for example. All right. Now, what you want is also to identify any that you consider to be maybe not appropriate.
I think I found it.
So things that are not related. So there's an ad for Dare on, I don't know, a clothing shop. All right. So if you find something that you think, look, there's a link there, but it doesn't seem to be connected to the milk.
What if it's related, like it's industry relevant, but has a negative perception on the brand?
That's still a link. Whether it's not inappropriate, it's still appropriate, but it's just not saying the right things you want it to say. But sometimes in independent links, they're going to be talking sometimes in non-positive ways, in negative ways, and that's still a link though. So it's still going to talk about Dare iced coffee. Okay. But it then also allows the person to go to the website and make their own opinion up. So if they do have a link there, the search engine will say, yep, that seems to be relevant, and there's a link back to the website, happy to look at it. Yeah? Okay. How are we going here?
Yeah, we find some website like it's through analysis how the healthy level.
Ah,
and
very
the
good.
Sugar
Yeah, and I found the
So you found a blog, very good.
like it talks about the strategy how to build up the.
Ah, very good. Now, what you've got to do is just check that they're not manufactured links. So you've got to see whether they wrote it Or someone else independent wrote it?
I think it's by the website itself because there's no name of the author.
Okay.
There's nothing. So I think it's from the website itself
Okay.
because there's copyright, How to Impact. So I think, and the website's name is How to Impact. So I think they're the ones who write.
Okay. So that's more to do with on-site SEO. When you've got blogs on your website, what we're looking for is off-site SEO, which is other people blogging about your coffee. So if someone's writing about best iced coffee mills to get in Melbourne, and is saying, look, I've been to Melbourne recently and I found that this brand called Dare Iced Coffee, that's an external link, and that's off-site, what they call off-site SEO. Yeah?
I think this is offsite.
Yes.
Yeah, SEO, because it is a like
Yeah.
coffee inform.
Yeah, because it's got all different brands. Yeah, see how you got all different brands,
And yes,
which is good.
yeah, and also have some relevant other.
Yep. So this is like the entrepreneur.com link that I gave you. That looks similar to that. Okay.
And you also got direct link to their coffee, the website.
Very good. All right. Now, the more difficult one to find is things that you consider to be inappropriate links. All right, links that they shouldn't be on. So remember some of the manufactured links that I mentioned? See if you can find any of those. All right.
So what do we include offsite links like?
Offsite. So, for example,
No,
someone.
not offsite, like bad examples that should not be like websites that are not appropriate. Like what do we?
Yeah. So, for example, if you find a Dare Coffee link and it's got no relevance to the content of that website mentioning it, so it's on a say clothing brand, for example, and all of a sudden there's a link for Dare Coffee. Well, that wouldn't be appropriate.
So no references.
No relevance. So that's one reason why it could be inappropriate. All right. If it's not linked to the product that you're talking about. Yeah. Now, I mentioned before that you can buy links. All right. There are people that can sell you links, and they just got to go and put your website on anything. All right. So 1,000 links for $5 is a common thing, but the links are no good. Some are broken, some are not right, some are spam. So I don't think that Dare would have those types of links, but it could be that they get mentioned in places which are not appropriate. How are we going up here?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So we're doing that question up there. All right. So you're looking at Dare. Yep. So you found some blogs and.
OZ backend,
Yep.
which is have the website of the
Mhm.
here, and also the
Now these could be what you call manual links,
manual.
because they may have paid to be on this Ozbargain website.
And it's on the top also.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
It's also have like the price that they can buy it.
Yep. So that's fine. So that's one type of link. Have you found any editorial links?
What about Woolworths, like as they were advertising the product?
Yep. So for example, Woolworths. Yep. So that one there.
They just like offer selling.
Okay.
They
So
are,
that's like a paid advertisement for the product?
Yeah. So it depends. I mean, Woolworths might have put it there by themselves.
Yep.
All right. Woolworths. The fact that it's there is fine, but if you can find, say, other people talking, someone has found, for example, one that talks about different energy drinks. It's a story about different energy drinks, and Dare appears in that story. Now that's an editorial link,
That's an editorial.
which is highly valued. So if someone talks about your drink amongst all these other drinks, fantastic.
Yep.
All
What
right.
about this one? How much sugar in your iced coffee?
Sorry, say again. Yeah, fantastic. So that talks about that's an editorial link.
This is an editorial.
Yep. So if they talk about Dare and there's a link back to the website talking about Dare,
Yep.
All right.
And these are link based?
Yes. Yep.
I'm just trying to identify.
Yep.
There might be a link. I'll just figure it out where it is though. Yeah, but it's just the name of the different products.
Okay, so they haven't got really a link to that.
Yes.
Okay. Whereas the one that they found, it had all the different links and then it had links to the website of the various products, talking about the levels of caffeine within each of the products.
I'll try to find one of them.
Yeah. But see if you can also find something which you might consider to be inappropriate links,
Okay.
like links which don't make sense, they're not relevant.
Oh,
Yeah. They may or may not be. All right. Yep.
What if they have some like bad news or dramas, some news on the website?
That's fine. So
Would they lower their ranking on the website?
they won't lower the ranking on the website because it's not looking at whether the content is positive or negative. It's looking at whether the content is relevant to the brand.
So can I put this way, like if they do make some dramas and then make everybody like
If they make some dramas, you're going to get a lot of hits to your website.
yeah, they get a lot of like
Yeah.
traffic to your website.
Yeah, but it may not necessarily be traffic that you want if they're coming to negatively review your product.
Yeah, but
Right.
not that serious. I mean,
No, but we're looking at it from a search engine perspective. So we're saying what can generate traffic for our website, and unfortunately, negative comment will also generate traffic. All right. So people are talking about your product. Google doesn't know, the search engine doesn't know what they're talking about. All right. What it does know is they're talking about it.
so what if they hire a celebrity and then they ask she or him she or he or to put some advertise and then maybe
Remember we talked about bloggers and how bloggers
their
will talk about
fans
different products.
or-
Oh, and then you have the fans then doing it. Then it could be seen as being independent. Yeah. And that's good as well. That's why people pay for that.
Like inappropriate because there's nothing about this celebrity because I just pay for her and then
That can be appropriate because the celebrity can promote your product, but that's not necessarily something that Google is going to value. All right, because that's more a manufactured link, so to speak,
yeah,
because you're getting someone paid to do it.
because in that case I would just boost up my fans a lot.
Correct.
Yeah.
So your fans will then come to your website. So that's good for your website, and that's why people do it anyway. But from an SEO perspective, it's not going to improve your ranking just because someone said something about it. But if the fans start going to your website, then it will. So you can see that there's an indirect way of doing it as well. Okay? But you got to pay for that person to do it. So we're now talking about unpaid. All right? We're talking about SEO. There will be something where we talk about paid, so SEM. Okay? All right. Okay, it seems that a lot of people have found some very interesting links, which is really good. Now, if I can get one person from every group to stand up and tell us some of the more interesting ones. So don't give me things that you think everyone else has found. See if you can tell me something. And I know some found a infographic, for example, that talked about the level of caffeine in various coffee drinks. And Dare was mentioned, and there was a link there to the Dare website. Okay, so stuff like that. So if you want to, we'll start with this group here. If someone wants to stand up and let us know what they found. All right, and it doesn't have to be your whole report, just to give us a few interesting ones. If you found something that you consider to be inappropriate, that'll be good as well. Yep. So let's have this microphone here.
Okay, so one interesting thing that we found was that Dare had a partnership with the AFL, and within the website of that particular AFL team, they had a Dare video, and they also had links to banners, and also Dare as a sponsor with a link back to the website. And for some suggestions for Dare, we found that there was a financial review article that included Dare but didn't have any links specifically to the company, and so that's something that Dare could do to partner with that website. As well as grocery stores like Woolworths and Kohl's, they mention the product Dare, but they don't necessarily have backlinks to the brand.
Okay. All right. Given the type of product that we're talking about, all right, it's not necessarily that usual that for a product such as coffee, iced coffee milk, you're going to have a whole suite number of links that are unpaid for. All right, not too many people are necessarily going to be talking about Dare. Now, in your case, when you're talking about Tiffany's, on the other hand, you'll find that people potentially could be talking about their experiences in the store. They could be talking about the different pieces they bought from there. They could be talking about any element of their marketing or their product range, whether that be pricing, whether that be location of stores, whether that be experience in the stores, whether that be about customer service. All right, so you're going to find that there's a lot more discussion, and this is the same little exercise you're going to do with Tiffany's, and hopefully you'll find that there's going to be a lot more information there. All right, if we have this group now, who's going to take the mic?
Oh, no, you.
So this is called Pass the Parcel. So we're handing the book over to the different members. You're going to...
We find 3 sites. First is roymorgan.com.
Yep.
And it's basically information about their iced coffee. And second one, Caffeine Informer. And it discussed the caffeine level and all the flavors of the Dare coffee, which link to the Dare iced coffee website.
Yep.
And another one is Sprudge. It's about the Aussies iced coffee drinks, and it's the article, and at the end of the article there is the link to Dare iced coffee.
Okay. Did you find any which are inappropriate?
No.
No? Okay, that's fine. All right, so moving up the groups here. This group here, who's going to talk? Thank you.
So we found specific sites that mainly review. So we are talking caffeine levels, sugar levels, and the specific sites are, there's one called Sugar by Half, and we also have another called Healthy Mommy, where there's a lady who said how she lost 22 kgs after she stopped drinking the iced coffee, and they actually linked their iced coffee. So in that sense, rather in that context, it might not be the best for brand perception, but regardless, they were featured.
There was a link and it took them back to the website, which is fantastic because it generated traffic for the website. So like I said before, what is actually said is obviously critical to the brand, but not necessarily for the SEO. So even bad publicity, as they sometimes say, is good publicity, all right? Because you're generating interest in your brand and people can then make their own decisions. Obviously, you don't want negative stuff being said about your brand, but from an SEO perspective, from a search engine perspective, the fact that people are talking about your brand means they're interested in your brand. People up here, anything different? Anyone wish to say anything? Yep.
Yeah, actually we find a video and the website is called Best Ads.
All right, listening in.
And here is a video about Dare iced coffee. And this is say it's the top 6 best video ads about, this is also a kind of video to promote their coffee. But this is, they don't analysis here, but they don't have any analysis why this ads is good. And also they don't have any direct link to the Dare, but the video it's a advertisement about their coffee, and also this a video update 2008. It's 10 years ago.
Okay.
So it's lack of freshness. Yeah, this is the one of the way find. Another is about the reviews.
Okay.
And all the customer, here is like the general information about their coffee, and below here is all the customer recommend the comment and the review about this there. And it is, can like other customer to see how the customer feel about this their coffee.
It basically can generate some traffic on the website as people, I mean, when I also opened it, I was actually reading what people said, so it might just create traffic on the website to see, like, you know, how people research before drinking something or having something. So it's just basically all the reviews that might, like, you know, help to market the coffee, like, you know, like help people how what's the taste of the coffee, what people think about it. So yeah, it might generate traffic. That's
Okay. And this is important to note as well, so very good. When we're talking about reviews are important as well because they do generate, especially when people put links back to the website, they also generate a lot of traffic, and the search engine then says, hey, people are interested. Remember, the key thing is to try and get people interested in your product. Obviously, you want to do it in the most positive way possible, all right? But the more interest there is in your product, the greater you're going to rank for that particular category by the search engine. Any questions on the first one? Yes. Hang on, wait for the mic.
Regarding the links, is there any control that that somebody can link my product, or is there a way that I could just ban whatever or choose which link that I want my product to be featured or my company to be featured?
Okay, so the question, as you heard, is can I stop other people linking to my website? I haven't heard of any other way of doing it. Maybe someone that works in the industry knows a way of doing it. I can't see how you're going to stop someone unless it's slanderous or libelous. You can't really stop someone talking about your product. And whether you can stop them from linking to it, again, I can mention in a comment and I can put your website down. How do I stop you from doing that? Unless it's on a social media site and the comment is not appropriate according to the rules of that media site. But if it's on a website and someone else's blog, you can't really tell them, look, I don't want you linking to my website. I don't think that's going to work very well. So if someone else knows anything different, I don't think you can stop them somehow. All right, so what you want to make sure is that your brand is received positively. All right, so you don't have to worry. So whoever links to your brand is obviously doing it for good reasons. Yeah, so because I don't think there is a way of actually stopping them linking to your brand. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Give examples of link bait that Dare Ice Coffee would use and contrast this with link bait used by Tiffany's. Identify similarities and differences and explain why. Now remember what link bait was. So this one here, you need to look at different websites that have got their coffee mentioned there. Some of the link bait that's used there, remember we talked about link bait being attractive images, for example. All right. Contrast that with some of the link bait that's used by Tiffany's. Now we're not going to take too long on this one because we've got another couple of questions. So let's take 10 minutes on this, and this time I'll start with the group that missed out last time at the back. So stay in your same groups and then we'll move our way down. All right. So 10 minutes to do this one. Yeah.
So there's this site called Gozomo. Just one. Yeah, the video. I'll just open it again. I want to show it to you.
Yeah.
It was about Dare Iced Coffee, and it was how a man sets up his dream regarding, and there was a Facebook page link on the end, in the end. So is it compared to be an editorial link for that? One second, I'll show you. Yeah, I'll open it. 1 second, sir. It was just 1 second, I'll do it. Or should I bring it to you?
No, that's all right.
Second or third page. Yeah, exactly.
I'll go around and come back.
Yeah.
Have you found any? Not yet. Yeah.
I think this is something kind of expert, like describe
Yeah.
the coffee brand and then show the image.
Correct. And then you click on the image.
Ingredients and
Yeah.
you click it.
Yes. Now, one of the ones that was down here, which talked about Dare, so that article, for example, that then had the image, so it had all the amount of sugar or caffeine, and it had an image of Dare next to it. That's an example of clickbait.
I follow about this question. Like, what does that mean? Like, use this link bay and also this with the link bay used by Tiffany's.
Tiffany's. So if you look at Tiffany's, what sort of clickbait does, so if you do a Google search on Tiffany's, what does Tiffany's use for clickbait? Do they have blogs about the quality of diamonds, for example, or?
But that would, I think we would call that like content.
Content marketing, yes.
Yeah, but that's is called link bay as well.
But you can have, see, all these things are not distinct things. So you can have link bait within content marketing. So you can have an image, for example, within content marketing as well.
But what are the differences between them? So
But-
it's a technique that can be used in another.
Correct.
So I could use
Correct. So you've got,
marketing but include.
yeah. So this is why you don't just say, oh, I'm just doing content marketing. Because within content marketing, you're including links. Yeah. So we separated them here so we can look at what we're talking about or the different ways to do it.
Even Wikipedia also have that. So all of this one also called like
They're all different forms of link bait.
link based and also the content.
Yeah. So, but link bait doesn't have to necessarily be content. That's the difference. Okay.
So even like content marketing, if I don't put any links on it, so
Yeah, that's content marketing. Because you can email, for example, remember content marketing, you can email it to people. And obviously if you're going to email it, you're going to have links. Yep. So then they can come back to your website.
Link site can be just a link.
Link bait can be, yeah, anything that gets you back to the website. Yeah. So it could be an image. Yes. All right. So it's, think of the word. It's baiting you, right, to click on the link. So you got to think, how is it doing it? Yes, so compare it to, say, Tiffany's, how Tiffany's uses it. So with Dare, it's going to be, think of the brand, right? So with Dare, it's going to be a little bit funnier. Tiffany's is not going to be funny, I think. They're going to be a bit more serious. It's very different. So the clickbait has got to be more sophisticated. Yeah? So that would be the contrast. So one would have maybe a funny story, could be a cartoon or someone drinking the Dare milk. Whereas in Tiffany's, it's going to be more standard stuff. Yeah. It could be more feminine, but it could also be more matter of fact, talking about diamonds, for example, like we said before. Maybe the silver, maybe the process, maybe the shopping experience that you get with Tiffany's.
Maybe like even like people if they try when they promote product, let's say, and then they might probably like post to any social media to
Yeah.
show off maybe not.
Yep, so it's going to be very different to someone just drinking milk. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
This blog about these various stanchions,
very good.
comparisons about
Yeah.
how good it is.
And it has discussed what of type of iced coffee that has
Yeah,
been
it's a good one.
sold in
Yeah, and
department.
and also I got this one, and it says in February 2018, this particular double espresso was the champion of the best.
Yeah, does
at
it
the
have any links in
Australian
there?
Grand Dairy Awards is at the end. Well, it says more info email here.
There you go, yeah.
So is this
Yeah, so they're links, all right, and that's,
yeah, this one has links.
has links, yeah? Oh, right throughout, yeah, perfect, yep. So that's the clickbait. What sort of clickbait are you getting from Tiffany's? All right, Tiffany's, like I said to the other guys, Tiffany's is probably going to be more matter-of-factly. All right, so it's going to talk about, it's going to be a more sophisticated thing. This one here could be more in blogs or people talking about it, how I lost weight by not drinking it.
Or comparison.
Yeah, caffeine comparisons, yeah. Or it could be funny links, yeah?
Okay.
All right, so it's very different because the target market is different. Okay, so when we talk about link bait, think of what the word means. All right, it's a link there to try and bait you, i.e. draw you in, so you can click on it. And when you're comparing two brands, you need to consider the target market and the message that each of the brands is putting out. All right, one is not as sophisticated as the other. So Tiffany's is trying to put out there that we're unique, we're sophisticated. All right, so the clickbait has to match that. All right, so the link bait has to match that. So they're not going to put a funny story and then link to it. Yeah, that might be more appropriate for Dare, but not necessarily appropriate for Tiffany's. So the clickbait might be nice images, for example, for Tiffany's. Whereas the only image you're ever going to get with Dare is an image of the milk itself. All right, so when you're contrasting, if someone says contrast, the first thing you've got to do is step back and look at the brand, look what the brand stands for, look at the target market and what message that brand is pushing out. And then you can see whether the clickbait or the link bait is appropriate for that brand. Okay, any questions on that one? Because we've got two more. So I'm not going to ask the groups, I've been around to the groups. What different content types does Dare Iced Coffee use? Give recommendations on other content types they could consider. All right, so now we're talking about content marketing. It's been fantastic going around the groups that they found a lot of, one found a comparison from an American tourist, which looked at different iced coffee, and they wrote an article in their travel blog. All right, and it compared the different types of iced coffee that they found in Australia. All right, so that's content marketing. All right, so when you look at this question here, what different content types does Dare Iced Coffee use? Give recommendations other content types they should consider. All right, so content comes both from the company and from external sources. Content is what they write. So for example, someone else has already found there's another website, another blog, for example, which is written, for example, by Dare Iced Coffee, again talking about different levels of caffeine. All right, so when you go down the bottom, you can see that it's actually written by the company. Okay, now with this one here, because we haven't got much time, we'll spend 5 minutes on this, because you've already found a lot of the information that we need. All right, so start looking at content marketing and think about what it means and what people are finding. Okay, so think of other content types that Dare could use as well. And content marketing doesn't have to be words, yeah? So what else could Dare use? Remember we gave some examples like the Hasbro, the toy manufacturer, where they created a cartoon in order to increase sales. So what other things can Dare do? Okay, so it's not just writing articles and writing blogs how good our coffee is. What else could they do? Okay, and there's all these different forms that you can use. So you can use video, you can use pictures. All right, so take 5 minutes to think about that, and then we'll take a couple of groups to talk about it, and then we'll go on to the last question. Okay. So what other content marketing could they use? You've identified that they use a blog. Okay, so, but instead of just saying videos, think of what you're going to create. So what would you do? So you got their advertisements, yeah? It doesn't have to just be the obvious things. All right, you can say there could be a video game, all right, which incorporates their coffee in there. Remember what Dare is all about? When your head's not quite straight or whatever the catchphrase is, think along those lines and see, yeah, drink it through. Okay, so if you think of a video game, so don't just think of the obvious things, because they've probably already done those. But if you think of, say, something else that they could potentially do, that's all part of content marketing.
Machine with all the different products to try, like in to attract customers to try and customize everything.
Okay, so that would be more traditional marketing. Think of the digital space. But that's a good idea, yeah. But see, in the digital space, Siri? Oh, series, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. My strange addiction to Dare Iced Coffee. Now, this one,
By Dare Iced Coffee, but they could get inspired.
Okay, so for example, this is content marketing created by other people that relates back to Dare, and that's good as well. So they can create a series, or they can create a game, or they can create, what else can they do? Mm-hmm. Fanta, yeah.
Yeah, they did something with, they asked creators
Mm-hmm.
and people to vote for them.
Okay, fantastic. So that's a strategy that they could use as well. So they can have a competition. All right? So they're all different ways that you can create content. So at the moment, they're predominantly using blogs and videos on YouTube, but you've just come up with another idea. Yeah? Right. Okay, what other content marketing have you got? So we already know that they use blogs.
Yes.
We already know that they use video.
Yeah.
Now think of other things that they could be doing.
Needs to be
Yes. Now, the group down there came up with a great idea. So, for example, they said they could ask other people to create content and post it, like a competition. Okay? So you can have a competition.
Test that you do online on how you're feeling, and they gives you what is the best product that you can pick depending on your mood.
Yes, you can do that. So similar to what Gillette did. All right.
Like, oh, are you sleepy? 3, and then says get the triple espresso, or get the simple, get the mix.
Yep, so that's additional content. Now I can see online they've told us industry webinar. Yep.
But with what content?
Yep, industry webinar to attract the audience. Okay, so some good ideas coming out from down there. Think of what content marketing is, so don't just think of blogs and video, think of other things that they could do. So the group down there mentioned competitions. So they asked people to create content, all right, and do a video of them drinking, for example, the Dare Ice coffee, and the best video would then win something, all right? So that's content marketing. So you can get other people to create content for you. Another idea there was to have an online tool that tells you which Dare Ice coffee you should take depending on your mood. Are you feeling sleepy? Dare Ice coffee extra strong. All right? Similar to what Gillette did, telling you what sort of face you got and what beard would suit your face. So that would be the one that they've come up with. All right? So that's the different types of content marketing. So,
Web banners.
Web banners, yep.
Like display banners, like on this site. So it's a different site, but they have to banners also.
Okay.
Once you click, take you to them.
But remember, the web banners are typically paid. So we're talking about content that you're not paying for. All right, so the competition is I like the idea of the competition because you're getting other people to create and generate interest.
You have to like some withdraw and also need to pay for that.
Well, you're paying a prize, but you're not paying for them to do it. So you might get a lot more out of this, and you're not really controlling the content. All right. So whereas with the banner, you're controlling it. Yeah.
My idea is about the recipe to teach people how to use their iced coffee to do a coffee cake.
All right. Very good.
And can be a blog and also can be a video, like teach people to use.
Yeah, so they can make a video of someone using iced coffee in different ways.
Yeah.
So don't just drink it directly, actually include it in some dishes.
Whatever cake or ice cream,
Okay.
use the iced coffee.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Very good. Any other great ideas up here?
So the Dare Ice coffee mainly used. So we found 3 videos here.
Okay, so they have videos and they have blogs. What additional ideas have you come up with? So the group down there came up with competitions.
Okay.
All right. This group here said we do a video on how people could cook using Dare Ice coffee.
I found this one. So typically they do challenges.
Yep.
So this is a video about.
There you go. So that's similar to the competition that people said.
And also they this one was I was up trying to show you before,
Mhm.
and they had a Facebook page link in the end.
Yep.
And this is about.
There you go. Yep. Excellent. All right. So that's like a competition where content is created. All right. Okay. There's some great ideas here for Dare Ice coffee. What we'll do is I'll reflect back on some of the ideas that we heard the groups discuss. One of the ideas that the group down the bottom here said was competitions. All right. So having people actually generate content for you is a great way of doing content marketing. So if you have a competition saying, look, if you post images of yourself drinking iced coffee, the best image is great. Someone else found dare being a dare. So anyone posting images of themselves carrying out a dare and then drinking the coffee, the dare coffee at the end. might win a prize. So competitions is interesting. Another one thought about looking at using their milk in different ways. So having a cooking show where you're using their milk to make a coffee cake, for example. All right, so there's all these different types of ideas of how you can use them. Any of the other groups have any great ideas on how different? We all know that their coffee uses blogs already. We know they use videos. It's trying to work out, and this is what you're going to do for Tiffany's as well, trying to work out what they can do different to what they're already doing. So you can see what they're doing and then saying we would recommend that they potentially use this. Any other ideas? Yes, so we had the video game idea as well. All right, so you can have iced coffee, you can carry out different dares along a path, and then as you complete that path, you get a drink of their milk. All right, now you can then redeem some of those, and it can be all electronically. You can redeem those for maybe vouchers. All right, so there's all these different ideas on how you can generate content. All right, either directly from you, or you can get others to generate content for you. All right, now the final question, nice and simple. Now imagine that you are the digital marketing manager and have been asked to critically analyse all 3 learning objectives and provide an appropriate blueprint or recommendations for a redesign of DARE's website. All right, now what we said was, and this question was asked by one of the groups, are these all distinct activities? Do we, for example, look at content marketing as opposed to link generation, as opposed to something else? Now, all these things will be done at the same time. Okay, so you can still have editorial links, you can still have manufactured links, you can still have content marketing which incorporates links. Okay, so looking at all 3 objectives, i.e. links, talking about the website's popularity, thinking about strategies for generating the links, and finally looking at content marketing. See if you can look at those 3 things together and how would that make your website redesigned. So what would be an appropriate blueprint of recommendations for a redesign of DARE's website? All right, this will take us all of a couple of minutes. Who wants to have a go? How would you change the stuff that they're already doing? So let's think about content marketing, for example. Do they have frequently asked questions on their website? Yeah? Do they have people commenting, for example, on their iced coffee? No? So they don't have any customer reviews? Okay, now there are external links to customer reviews for the coffee. Yeah? Do they have any videos on their website? Yes. Do they have any images? Yes. Do they write any stories that you found, any blogs that talk about caffeine levels or benefits or non-benefits of drinking this iced coffee? We know there's negative stuff because we already found the sugar. Yeah?
There's nothing about how the brand was created.
There's nothing about the brand itself. So that's important to have as well. So there's a recommendation. All right, allowing people to understand how DARE came about, the history of the company. Now we know, for example, that this one here belongs to the Lion company, the stable of brands by Lion. All right, there could be something there, but it's always good to have it on your website as well, how you were created. Yes?
They can open their own stores in malls or complexes.
Okay, they can do that. However, we're only talking about, so this is all good stuff. And of course, when we talk about digital, it doesn't mean that we forget about traditional marketing as well. All right, but that falls into the realm of traditional marketing, similar to what some of the answers were from Tiffany's, talking about store traffic. All right, when you're looking at their digital strategy, it might generate people going to the store, but we're not actually looking at the store experience. So don't just say, oh yes, well, we're going to survey customers in the store to find out about their store experience. That doesn't have anything to do with their digital strategy. Okay? So yes, we're definitely going to use traditional marketing whenever we do any marketing. Traditional marketing is part of the mix. We are particularly focused now on digital strategies. All right? Any other comments on the website? Any other stuff on content marketing? Yes. Hang on, I'll bring the microphone up there.
I think they should be more aggressive on social media.
Mm-hmm.
They only have Facebook, and they can include Instagram and Twitter as well. And on Facebook, they last posted on 31st December
Okay.
2018. So, yeah.
All right. That's good points, and there's some of the things you're also going to be doing with Tiffany's. So if you identify when the last posts are and how they're using the posts, that's obviously important to you, because you then understand how much value they place on that medium. Okay, so if it's taken them 4 months, and that was the last post 4 months ago, then that says something about the brand as well and the value they place on that medium. Now, you might say they should be placing a lot more value on that, and you can recommend some content that they could be including on there. All right, now, typical things that you can do, say, for example, for a brand like this on Facebook, is you can run competitions. All right, and we've all seen Facebook-type competitions. Remember, it's a different brand to Tiffany's. All right, it's asking people, it's a more transactional type brand. All right. So a lot of the information that you're going to get for the brand you already know. So what gets you more involved with the brand? Competitions, games, all that sort of stuff. If you're talking about some of the traditional media, then incorporating them. We've seen here, for example, there's a series on YouTube using Dare. All right, so incorporating your brand in a series is obviously important. You're talking about some of the traditional media, even TV placements and ad placements within TV shows, local TV shows. That would be all traditional media. You can replicate that sort of stuff in doing a little series similar to what Tourism Australia, like we saw in Tourism Australia, where they created an ad which had all the hallmarks of a Crocodile Dundee son of, and all of a sudden we find out that the ad was in fact for Tourism Australia. All right, so that was a YouTube campaign that they ran, and how that all worked together. Now, are there any questions on what we have covered? Okay, tell your friends that next week we're going to have the guest speaker, so we want as much attendance as, and they're there also the Deakin digital marketing person, so that'll be really good. People aren't here, it'd be good to be here. Also, by this stage, like I said, you should be well and truly involved in your assignment. The group formation, and I know there's at least one. Have you found a group yet? Are there any people here that got short members in your groups? If you do, then there's at least a couple of people that I know of that are looking to join a group. You should be finding yourself in a group well and truly by now. All right. So see if you can engage with people within the classroom. Those people that have got 2 people, it obviously makes good sense to have a 3rd person. If you've got 3 people, you can have a 4th person. So there shouldn't be anyone that doesn't find themselves in a group, and they should be doing it fairly quickly. If there are no further questions, I will see you all next week. Those of you that are on the online tutorial as well, that's on tomorrow at 11 o'clock as usual. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you next week.
Sorry.
You can discuss it if you want. Yeah, within the word limit.
We are limited to the words.
Yes.
We have 500 words. So
Correct.
we have to discuss only few things.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it's got to be relevant.
exactly to the relevant points.
Correct.
As we have limited words to discuss.
Yeah.
In student learning, student reflection, there we can discuss about this. Then
How you did things, yeah?
Yeah, how I did things and what I learned.
What you learned from your team members?
Yeah,
Correct.
and what was the learning outcomes.
Yes. Okay, no worries. Thank you. Read a log on if you wish. Packing up all the technology here. Thank you.